Well, hi everyone. We are Rotten Roll. I'm Jamie.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Travis.
This is Travis.
Hi.
Where's Travis?
I'm here.
Oh, his spirit is here. He's actually, I think, going to join us in a moment.
I'm right here, guys.
Digitally, with a time travel device that we've been working on the side.
Yeah.
And we're going to play some compost music that we have written over the years. One of our classics. This is Rotten Roll playing Rot Me Mama.
Hit it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Some call it a stink, some call it black gold. Whatever it is, it's so much better than mold. There are more ways to compost than you've been told. You can put it in 1 or 2 or 3 piles. Rot it, mama, in your favorite style. You can turn it, let it rest for a while. Rot me, mama, when your friends at home. Rot me, mama, when you're all alone. Hey, mama, rot me. Rot me, mama, in the power of it. Rot me, mama, outside or in. Hey, mama, rot me.
If you like to garden and you live in the north, try vermicomposting on your basement floor. Wormies eating and wriggling back and forth. But if you got some land and a little bit of fence, putting the bin outside might make sense. And if you know what to do, the system will work for you. Rot me, mama, in a well-built pile. Rot me, mama, with lasagna style. Hey, mama, rot me. Rot me, mama, in a pile or a bin. Rot me, mama, outside or in. Hey, mama, rot me.
Pile of compost in a matter of hours. Gonna use it on my veggies and my flowers. Staring at the pile, hoping that I did it right. Well, I layered some browns and then some greens. Salads on the layer, that's what I mean. It was the easiest pile that I could try. Rot me, mama, when your friends at home. Rot me, mama, when you're all alone. Hey, mama, rot me. Rot me, mama, in a pile or a bin. Rot me, mama, outside or in. Hey, mama, rot me. Oh yeah. Hey, mama, rot me. Do it one more time. Hey. Thank you. Welcome to the Compost Fair 2020.
Hi everybody, I'm Daniel Baruch and I'm a Tompkins County Master Composter. And I'm going to show you the basics of how to get a backyard composting bin started. So you might think this is a very difficult thing to do. Maybe you're a little overwhelmed, maybe it's a little scary. I promise you it's very simple, it's very easy. it's cost effective, and you have a lot of options on how to get started. So let's start with what we're trying to accomplish here. We're going to try and turn old food scraps or old garden scraps or greens, branches, leaves, old food, any of that kind of stuff that's plant material, organic material, and we want to reuse it. And one of the best ways to reuse all of this material is to put it in a compost bin, and because of all the little organisms in there and things breaking down, we're going to turn all that old food and old garden stuff into soil amendment, compost, and it's going to supercharge your soil. You're going to be able to grow things in there. You're going to be able to use that soil amendment to grow things. You're going to be able to use that in your garden, in your potted plants, etc., etc. So you're putting all of that old nutrients that are starting to rot right back into the ground. This is a welded wire compost bin, and every one of the compost bins I'm about to show you uses the basic principles that you're going to see here. We're going to be doing lasagna layering. So what is lasagna layering? Well, that's the simple way to basically create your compost bin. Over here we have a little lasagna layering compost cheat sheet, and you'll be able to see that in a moment. And the way you start your compost bin is you want to use some sticks and stalks at the bottom of your compost bin. Kind of thick stuff. The reason we want to do that is because when things start to settle down, you need to have lots of air. Your compost bin needs to breathe. One of the things your compost bin needs, aside from browns and greens, which we'll talk about in a moment, is oxygen. It needs air to breathe. It's also going to need some moisture, but we'll talk about that some more. On top of these sticks and stalks, you're going to start adding browns. So what are browns? Well, I'll give you an example of some browns. Maybe you have some dry branches. Maybe you have some old pine cones or those lovely little helicopter seeds, and you've been collecting them around your yard. Maybe you have some sticks, thin sticks. Maybe you have some old newspaper. Maybe you have piles of leaves. Dry, old plant material. And why can we use paper? Well, what's paper made out of? Paper is old wood pulp. It's basically made out of old dried up wood. So those are your browns. So we're going to start by making a nice bowl of browns in the bottom of your compost bin. And what we're going to do with that is when you have maybe some food scraps, maybe you just had your bagged lunch and you have a banana peel, or maybe you have some eggplant that went bad, or maybe, oh, you got like a moldy old bagel, it's disgusting. We're going to take these food scraps and we're going to put them on top of the browns, which are on top of your big stick layer at the bottom. Now, it's a great idea to try to break up your food as much as you can, because when you break it up, that's going to help it decompose. Decomposing is basically the process of these organic things, the food material, even grass clippings, things from your garden that have gone bad and rotten. Maybe an old plant that you're like, you know what, this plant's not going to make it. You pull it out of the ground and you put all the leaves in there. The reason you want to tear it up is it'll help it break it down more quickly. So you're going to put about 1 inch or 2 of these food scraps and greens, maybe even those grass clippings, like I said, if you have a lawn, on top of the browns. Only 1 inch or 2. If you put too much, you're going to start to make a mound. And if you make too much of a mound, every time you add a layer, that's the lasagna layering, you're going to end up with a mountain. And it's not going to break down properly. It's not going to breathe properly. It's not going to decompose properly. So you want to make that little bowl 1 inch or 2 of food, and then you're going to put another layer of browns on top of that. But you're not going to just throw it on top in the middle. You're going to make yourself a bowl again. And that way, the next time you put some food scraps in there, you're going to have a nice little bowl to settle it in, and you'll cover it with browns yet again. The other thing is, you might think, well, do I need to water it? Well, greens, those food scraps that you're putting in there, have a lot of moisture. And that moisture is necessary for the composting process, for the decomposition. And the idea is you want to have about 3-to-1 of browns to greens by volume. So a handful of browns, you need 3 of those, to 1 handful of greens. And that's going to keep that proper balance of dryness, of wetness, of the carbon of your browns and the nitrogen of your greens. Over time, your compost bin is going to fill up. Now you can turn it. You can turn your compost bin as it starts to break down, and that'll accelerate the process of creating this compost. But if you're like me, you just want to set it and forget it. I usually set up a pile of browns next to my compost bin so that it's right there, ready to go the moment I put some food scraps in. And maybe in 6 months or so, you're going to start looking in there and it's not going to smell. It's not going to be yucky. You're going to start smelling that lovely earthy smell of completed compost. And over time, you're going to see all the food scraps have disappeared, and you're going to have this lovely, rich, brown amendment. That's your compost, and you can use it however you please. And we're just going to cover one more time what goes into your compost. You have your greens. That could be any fruit, any veggie, food scraps. It could even be dry straw, things like that. That's okay, but that's not really green at that point. When it's dried out, it's not green. It doesn't have the nitrogen. So you want to have the browns. The browns could be paper. You can even use hair, believe it or not. Maybe you've just shaved Fido's fur for the summer. Throw it in the compost bin. It's totally okay. Coffee, coffee filters, tea bags, anything that's a plant material. It can go right into your compost bin. What don't you want to throw in there? Meat, bones, cheese, eggs. Eggshells are okay if you break them down, but the inside of eggs, not so great. Hot dogs, that's meat, depending on what kind of hot dog you're getting. The idea is you don't want to put those kinds of food products in your compost bin because it's not plant matter, it's not going to break down in the same way as the plant matter, and it's also going to attract vermin. So the idea is you want to keep it just plant matter. And at the end of the day, maybe in a few months, you're going to end up with this gorgeous, beautiful compost. And then you can put it to work. So, thank you for joining me. I hope that was educational and fun. And get to it. Give it a try. It's very easy. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, this is Master Composter Romina, and I have my mini composters, Bastian,
Luna! Sienna!
and together we're going to show you how to compost with worms. Having a worm bin is very easy. You need a bin,
Worm.
paper for the bedding, food scraps, and of course the worms. For composting worms, we use the red wrigglers, and here Luna and Sienna can show you a couple of them.
Nah, just one.
So now these guys will go back to their bin. Sienna, thank you. These are our stars. So now that we know what are the materials that we need to use, I'm going to explain step by step. So for the bin, you can use any plastic, styrofoam or wood container that has a lid. It is around 12 inches deep, and you can drill holes on the sides and on the bottom for airflow and drainage. As you can see here, we have the holes. It is a good idea.
Done them.
Yes. It is a good idea to keep your bin in a place where it's not too hot or too cold. You want the worm's environment to be moist and dark. We keep ours in the basement. We just took it out to show it to you. But also you can keep it in the garage or even under the kitchen counter works well. For the bedding, you can use newspaper, brown paper, cardboard, etc. You will need to shred it, soak it in water, and wring it until it's not dripping but it's moist. Then you will fluff it. Now the girls are going to show you how you rip your paper.
A paper!
You rip it, then you soak it. Girls, you can soak it.
Wait. One more.
Great. You soak it. And what you want to make sure is to have your bedding like this after you have fluffed it. You can also add more bedding every week or so. Keep in mind that you should have around 2 to 3 inches of moist bedding covering the worms and food at all times. Now we go to the food. Worms will eat the fruit and vegetable scraps from your kitchen. Remember to cut the food in small pieces as worms don't have teeth. Listen, do you want to show the food? How it is in small pieces? Feed your worms a handful of two of food weekly. Before you add any food, check if there's any leftovers from the previous feeding in your bin. If so, you can wait a couple of days to feed them. Too much food that isn't being eaten can make your compost bin smelly or moldy. So now, Bastian and I are going to show you how to put the food inside your bin. You choose a corner of your bin to place the food. The next time you feed them, you can do it in another corner, rotating feeding spots. So for example, I'm gonna choose this corner. What you will do, Bastian, can you come closer, please? Yep. What you will do is you open a bit the bedding, like this. You dump the food here in this corner. Thank you, Bastian. And then you cover it. You want to make sure that you cover all the food so you don't get any fruit flies. As you can see, composting with worms, it's very easy and convenient as you can keep your bin indoors year-round. You will be helping the planet while getting a rich soil amendment you can use to grow your plants. So it's amazing. If you're interested in composting with worms, please call the Rot line at the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Tompkins County. They also offer worm composting classes to the public where you will get all the materials and information you need to start your project. So happy composting and thank you for watching. Bye!
Bye! Bye! What's it for?
All right, hi everybody. My name is Adam Michaelides and I coordinate the Compost Education Program. I hope you enjoyed our fun family educational composting that we did today. Daniel and Romina and the Rock and Roll guys. So the Compost Education Program is here to help you to compost well at your own home during this time. We have many ways to do that. The first way is that we offer some handouts, some fact sheets that we have, of course, our paper versions, but we also have them all online too. And I will tell you how to find them online in just a moment. We also have many short educational videos about different types of composting. And there are many master composters that live here in Tompkins County. We have, about 100 or more master composters. So if you know a master composter, that's one way to get help. We offer periodic, low cost, or even free compost classes, and we have some coming up this fall. We have an advanced composting series, and we'll have some other, maybe even a worm composting class. You can check our website, which is ccetompkins.org/compost. That's ccetompkins.org/compost. Or you can call the Rot line, and the Rot line is our compost hotline, a place you can call to get help. And that phone number is 607-272-2292. That's 607-272-2292. And the extension for that, for the Rot line, is 124. That's 124. So to support your composting efforts, we are giving away 2 prizes today. And we are giving it away to the first person who calls the Rot line and leaves a message that you'd like this prize. Okay? And the first prize is a stainless steel kitchen food scrap container with a charcoal lid that you can insert. So if you would like this, call the Rot line and ask for it. And our second prize is a working worm compost bin, similar to what you saw Romina and her children showing you in the video. So if you'd like to try worm composting, give a call to the Rot line and ask for the worm bin. All right, so I'm going to send you back to the other programming we have today. Happy composting, and thank you so much.